Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. So inshallah, we're moving on to the next section regarding nakira and ma'rifah. So if you look at it here, we finish all of these. We're discussing mufrad, and in mufrad we're discussing what? What's a kalima, what's a ism, what's a fa'il, what's a harf. The i'rab of ism, when it's marfu, when it's mansoob, majzoom, the harakat, how they express. Then we discuss types of fa'il, we discuss harf, we discuss kalam, we discuss how the i'rab is expressed. Then we had a long discussion regarding the awamil of a verb. What makes a verb mansoob, what makes a verb majzoom. Now we are here in nakira and ma'rifah. Everybody following me? Yes? Okay. Now, before we go through this chapter section, let's go through a summary of it. What do we have here? We can discuss ma'rifah and nakira. So the first thing we discuss is nakira. Then we're going to have ma'rifah. Ma'rifah is either going to be dhamir, it's going to be an alam, it's going to be ishara, mawsool, or dhul adat. What does dhul adat mean? Basically mean dhu, which has, and adat means here the particle which makes a word ma'rifah, which is alif lam. So dhul adat, another name for dhul adat would be what? Al-mu'arrafu bil-lam. Do you understand? So dhul adat really means what? That which has the adat. And adat means here alif lam. The tool. So adat literally means what? Tool. So it means what? That which has the ability, that which the tool to make it ma'rifah. You follow?
Okay, so alam, what's alam?
Alam is name. So dhamir is pronoun. We discuss each of them individually, inshallah. Dhamir is pronoun, alam is name, ishara. We'll do all these later on, inshallah. So the first thing he says here, faslun al-ismu darban. He says here, faslun al-ismu darban. Ism is two types. Dar means here. So we say here, dar means what? Dar means types. Okay. Nakira. And then obviously the second one is going to be ma'rifah. But before he mentions nakira, ma'rifah, what does he mention? He discusses what did he discuss? He defines it. So before he goes on to ma'rifah, he discusses it. Now this definition, let's look at the definition. What does it say here? Huwa ma sha'a fi jinsin. So let's just analyze this part first. So when he says if sha'a fi jinsin, what does that mean? So the word sha'a yashi'u literally means to spread. What does it mean? To spread. But here, it means here, to be generally applicable. What does it mean? To be generally applicable. And the next word, jins, means here, the class, the species, the genus. So don't worry about this at the moment, let's leave that for now. So how do you translate this? Huwa ma sha'a fi jinsin. We say here, a nakira word is what? Is that which is applicable.
Okay, you say be spread.
No, it says here applicable, it's easier. It says spread doesn't make sense that much. That which is applicable to all members. All members of the class. Kind, class. Okay, if you know what class, we can use what? We can use what? We can use species. Listen, we're not getting technical here regarding what it really refers to. We say here of the species, okay? Yes? What does this mean? For example, look, what's this? A man. Another man, another man, another man, another man, another man. Yes? All of these are called what? So the word rajul is sha'a fi jinsin mawjudin. So the word rajul can be used for him, is equally applicable to that man, is applicable to him, is applicable to him, is applicable to him, applicable to him. You get the idea. Yes? So when we say here sha'a, so the nakira, the word rajul is what? What is it? Nakira. So because it's nakira, it's applicable, it's the sha'a fi jinsin mawjud. So jins means a species of man. Yes? So man is a species, and the word rajul can apply to any member of this species. Understood? And then here he says in the text, what does he say in the text here? He says here, fi jinsin mawjud. Do we actually have many men, a species of men? No. When you got one man in the whole world? We have a species, don't we? We have many men. We have African men, American men, and American men are different. Loads of men. Yes? So there's actually a jins, a species which has members and elements. As opposed to, what's this supposed to be? Huh? A light bulb, a sun. Shams. How many Shams are there? Don't get all technical in terms of, but as far as we know, when you write this book, how many, or even for example, how many suns are there? One. So is it really a jinn? Does it have members? So it says here, أو جنس مقدر, an assumed jins. Because jins means what? A jinn, this is a jins. Why is this a jins? Because it refers to many people. It has many members. It's sun, so sun, the word sun is a jins as well, a species, but it only has one member. So it says here, whether it's a real species with many members or an assumed species which doesn't have real members, but we still use the same rule for this. Do you understand what's happening here? You understand? So he says here, وَهُوَ مَا شَاءَ فِي جِنْسٍ. A nakira word is that which is applicable in a jins. We translate this as what is applicable to all members of the jins. Whether that jins actually exists. Mawjood, we can say here what? Whether that jins actually exist or is assumed to exist. Do you understand? So basically, nakira is, you can use for anybody, unknown, undefined. Yes? So there's no second sun, there's no third sun, but if there was, we could also call them what? Shamsun and Shamsun. Yes? Okay? It's going to be technical for a beginner book. Then the next thing he's discussing is what? Ma'rifah. What's he discussing? Ma'rifah. And he says ma'rifah what? Sittatun. How many ma'rifah are there? 6. So ism can either be ma'rifah or it can be nakira. We normally have ma'rifah first, but because nakira is only one, he just brings that first. That's what he normally does in the book, and even in terms of he didn't an kai idhan, but he put an at the end because an was much more detailed. So it has nakira, and then you have what? What do you have after nakira? Ma'rifah. You have nakira and you have ma'rifah. Now the ma'rifah has 6 types. Dhamir, alam, ishara, mawsul, dhul adat, and mudaf ila wahid mimma dhukira. We discuss one of these, all of these individually.
Are you going to translate it?
We discuss it when it comes along. Dhamir. What's the dhamir? A dhamir ma dalla. Dalla came in before. Dalla means what? To depict or to indicate. What depicts, what indicates, what shows. So what depicts, what indicates, or what shows. What does it show? Either it shows mutakallim, it shows mukhatab, or it shows ghaib. Yes, and we know that from sarf, there's nothing to discuss in there. Now before we move on, it's very, very important. What is dhamir? You have dhamir, okay? So dhamir. So right now we're just focusing on the dhamirul fa'il. What are you focusing on? The dhamir which becomes the fa'il. And how many types of verbs do we have that have a fa'il inside of them?
In which one?
We have 3. We have al-madhi. Yes? What do you have?
Alif.
Huh?
We have the alif and the waw.
We have al-madhi. Yes? What do you have? Al-madhi. So here, al-madhi. We have al-mudari. We have al-amr. And we have what? Al-nahi. So 4 types of verbs. Okay? And each of these verbs has a tasrif. Okay? Now what we're saying here is that the pronoun in these verbs are different categories. Okay? There are few words we need to have here. Huh? Baris, mustatir, and we'll discuss that shortly. So let me go through here. So the first word we have here is zamir. We say zamir. Mustatir. What does mustatir mean? What does satar mean? To cover. What does mustatir mean? It is covered, it is concealed. What is it? It is hidden. And when it means hidden means what? What hidden mean? It has no form at the end of the verb after the lam kalima. Yes? So for example, if you look through all of these here, right? If you look through all of these, what do we have? So look, fa'ala. You see fa'ala here? After fa'ala, can you say anything? Is there anything after fa'ala? No. So now, is a zamir mustatir or not? Mustatir. After fa'ala, what do we have here in the second one? Alif. So what do we call this now? This zamir is called what? Zamir is called zamir bariz. Which is opposite, which means what? Apparent. Which means what? It has a form. It has a form after the lamul kalima. Yes, it has a form after lamul kalima. Understood? You follow me? Has a form of a lam al-kalima. Now, so if you go back here now to here, fa'alu, it has a form? Yes. Now fa'alat, you have to understand here, this fa'alat is very important to understand fa'alat. This ta fa'alat, this ta is not a pronoun. This ta is what? Yeah, is not a pronoun. What is this ta? Is alamatut ta'nith. What is it? Alamatut ta'nith. What is it? Alamatut ta'nith. You understand? Okay, it is what? Alamatut ta'nith. Are you following? Yes? Okay. So now, fa'alat, so is the zamir mustatir or bariz in fa'alat?
On the tongue of his
Where is it? I can't see it. But ta is what? Is that a pronoun? In fa'alat.
It's not a pronoun.
So then is the zamir bariz or mustatir? The zamir is here, inside. That's what we have here. If you look in the table, so look, the huwa is a fa'il. Here is a fa'il, the mustatir. Yes? And after the ones you can see is the alif, the waw, alif, ta, tuma, tum, ti, tuma, tunna, tu, and na. So the ones that we have in brackets are what? Zamir, bariz. We actually have a form for them. And the huwa in here, can you see huwa? Can you see anything after fa'ala?
No.
In fa'alat, after the lam, there's a ta, correct. But that's not a pronoun. What is that really? Ta'u ta'nith. So that's also got zamir mustatir here. So in these two forms, so wherever we have the asterisks, like here, fa'ala, let's do it, you can't see that. Wherever we have fa'ala, wherever we have, like here, asterisks, that's zamir what? Mustatir. Here's mustatir. In mudari, yaf'alu. Can you see anything after the lam kalima? Yeah? The ta.
No, fa'alti.
But so the question is fa'alti. But the fa'alti and ta, those are pronouns. The ta is the pronoun, ti is the pronoun. In yaf'alu, is there anything after the lam?
Has it ever been ugly?
No. No. Yaf'alu, that's a pronoun. Yaf'alu, is there anything after yaf'alu? No. So what's the zamir? Mustatir. Taf'alu? Af'alu? Naf'alu? If'al?
Oh, you missed one out.
Taf'alu. If'al? La taf'al? Mustatir. And all the rest are going to be bariz. You got it? Yes? So far so good? Good. Everybody understand? Everybody online following? Yeah? No question regarding that so far? Okay. Now, so now we know we have one, in the madhi you have two mustatir. In the mudari you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mustatir. In the amr you have, so if you put it here, if we number them, so we have here number 1, and here's number 2. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we have 1, 1. Yes? Now even these mustatir, there are two types of mustatir. One mustatir is, you have a choice whether the zamir is inside or not. Let me give you an example. Right? If I have the word, example here, we have the word here, yaqumu. What do we have? Now, is the zamir inside of yaqumu?
Yeah.
What's the zamir inside of yaqumu? Huwa. So instead of yaqumu we have huwa. So we say huwa is zamir mustatir. But is it not possible for me to say what? Yaqumu Khalidun. Yes? Is it not possible to say yaqumu Khalidun? So then in this scenario, is there a zamir in yaqumu? So is the zamir jaiz or is it wajib in yaqumu? You mean you don't have to have a zamir? You don't have to have the zamir inside. So in here, the zamir is mustatir, but it's not always hidden. Sometimes it's like hide and seek. Sometimes it's there, sometimes not there. You have to look.
So is the verb yaqumu, is that jawazan always?
So if you go back to the previous.
Do you label it jawazan?
So what we say here, So now in these, so in fa'ala, and so if you go back here now, if you create some space here, right? So get rid of the space now. So now what we have to look at here now, what we're saying here now, in all of the places where zamir, where we have what? Zamir. So we have here, fa'ala is mustatir, yaf'alu is mustatir. Mustatir, mustatir. So you see, have you seen here what we have as mustatir?
Yeah.
Now in here, what are you going to say here now? Now here, fa'ala, yaf'alu, and fa'ala taf'alu. The dhamir in here is not always hidden. You got a choice. If I bring a file after it, will I have a file inside? If I say ja'a, is there zamir inside?
Yeah.
Yes. If I say ja'a zaydun, is there zamir inside anymore? So is the zamir wajib inside or jaiz inside? Jaiz. If I say fa'alat, what does that mean? She done. And if I say fa'alat Zainab, what does that mean now? There's no inside. So in these two scenarios, in fa'ala, yaf'alu, fa'ala, taf'alu, the zamir inside is mustatir, but what kind of mustatir is it? Jaiz, jawazan. And in all the other scenarios, when I have af'alu, you can't say af'alu ana, you can't say af'alu zaydun, that doesn't make sense. So in the others, which are highlighted in yellow, the zamir in there is going to be what? Zamir is going to be mustatir, but wujuban. Do you understand? Abdullah, Abdurrahman?
Yeah.
Online, everybody following? And that's what he's explaining here. He's saying here, so the zamir can either be mustatir. Zamir can be what? Mustatir. What mustatir mean? It is hidden and there's no apparent form after the verb. Yes? And this one can be what? Kal muqaddari wujuban. It can be wajib. For example, aqumu and taqumu. You can't have a file after aqumu, can you? When I say aqumu, the file has to be what? Ana. You can't say aqumu and put zayn as the file after it, can you? Yes? Do you follow what's happening? Yes? So the I can be mustatir, muqaddar. It can be hidden like the hidden zamir, which is wajib but hidden in aqumu and taqumu. You don't have a choice but to have aqumu and taqumu. Indeed, there must be ana in here. And in taqumu, you must have what? Anta. Or the zamir can be mustatir but what? Jawazan. For example, Zaydun yaqumu. So in yaqumu, there is zamir. In yaqumu. Refers back to Zayd. But if you said Zaydun, if you say yaqumu Zaydun, is there zamir in here now?
There's no zamir.
There's no zamir in? Yes, it's a fail only without the zamir. So the zamir is mustatir how? Wujuban or jawazan? Jawazan. Do you understand the difference between mustatir, baris, and the mustatir is the wajib and jaizul istitar? Yes? Wajibul istitar, jaizul istitar. It is mustatir wujuban or mustatir jawazan.
So optionally, is it mostly the ghaib?
Not mostly, only. Only the ghaib and ghaiba. If you go back to our table, the one that's in red here, look, see? This one and this one. The ghaib and ghaiba. And the others are what? Mustatir, but the jaiz. You don't have to have it. No, sorry. The others are wajib. You must have anta. You can't have anything else. As opposed to here, in fa'ala, you can have fa'ala and have the huwa as a zamir. Or you can have yaf'alu as what? The zamir is huwa. Or you can put the file after. You got a choice. So in here and here, you don't have to use the zamir inside. It's jaiz. But in the others, you must use the zamir inside. So the zamir is mustatir wa wujuban. Does that make sense? Okay, you following so far? Online, everybody following? Any questions from online? No questions? Okay. So what we covered so far was the zamir marfu'. Ay dhamirul fa'il. That zamir which becomes the fa'il. Now along with the marfu' zamir, also what kind of zamir? Zamir mansoob and zamir majroor. So look at this table here. We can divide this table up. Okay, we stop here today, inshallah. We'll continue tomorrow inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, wa nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.